It's the big show, talking to my favourite people and the country's biggest stars. And occasionally we get an international megastar. We've got one for you today. Ali Campbell, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you, Alex?
Really good to talk to you again. The last time we spoke, there was a furore about our interview. Your fans are very passionate, and your previous fans in your previous incarnation are very passionate, aren't they? And they all like to tell their opinion.
Yes, they're very opinionated, my fans.
How's it being you now? I mean, you had the last album out, I don't know when we spoke, was it a year ago? And what a tremendous album that is. We just opened there with She's a Lady, which is one of my favourites. And you're still contemporary. It must be good to be you right now.
I've always thought it was good to be me, actually, Alex. It's been great, having the new band and touring with the Debt Band. That's been a joy, And this new album I did away from the Debt Band. I did this with Sly and Robbie. So I've been kind of busy, and I've been touring with the Debt Band and then recording with Sly and Robbie and then finishing the album in Psalm Studios, so I've been quite busy.
Tell me about your life now. Where are you living and how often do you get back?
I'm living in Christchurch now, down south, about as far south as you can go without falling in the sea, looking directly at the Needles of the Isle of Wight, and I love it down there. It's a lovely little quiet place, a little market town called Christchurch, and I live by a quay and everything. It's very nice. Got my own beach. So, yeah.
Tell me about your musical roots, because, I mean, your sound is so identifiable, and it's so Ali Campbell. When did you fall in love with your type of music? Well,
I grew up listening to reggae music. Basically, I'm from Borsalith in Birmingham, which is the south of Birmingham. Predominantly West Indian and Jamaican immigrant area, when I grew up, and Asian as well. And I grew up listening to Asian music too, I love Mohammed Rafi and Asha Boswell and Lotta Malgesh, her sister. And but reggae was the music of the streets, I grew up surrounded by music because my dad was a folk singer. I didn't like folk music, I liked reggae.
Were you ever viewed as an imposter? Because to get into that is quite difficult, because let's face it, it's a specific skill, isn't it? And if it's done badly, it sounds awful.
Yeah, well, the thing is that, you can't really play reggae unless you love it, unless you understand it, Plenty of people have tried and failed. Stevie Wonder's one of the greatest musicians that's ever lived. But he can't play reggae. He tried Master Blaster, but you've got to grow up loving it, and you've got to have an understanding, or in Jamaica they say an overstanding.
And you've got to have rhythm. I mean, that's the most important thing. I noticed from your live show, you are so into the beat, aren't you? And that's paramount.
Yeah, well, it's the beat, as they say about rock and roll. It's that's what it's all about.
Is there any better feeling than getting that first round of applause when they know they like you?
First, it was daunting going out there, with my new band, because, I know that my fans are precious. A lot of UB40 fans, are kind of precious. But I've had nothing but great reviews, fantastic, reactions at the shows. I've taken the Debt Band all over the place. We were in Hawaii this year, and in South America, in England, everywhere. And we haven't had a bad gig yet. We've been smashing it everywhere we're going, so I'm loving that.
I know there was a lot of controversy around the last time we spoke, and it was still quite raw, the split from UB40. Has all that calmed down now? Are you speaking to the boys, or is it still you and them?
Oh, it's still me and them, but, it's old news now, isn't it? They're hobbling along, and I'm carrying on doing my thing, So yeah, it's boring. It's boring talking about it now, really.
But I have to say, I mean, I had the most extraordinary reaction on the internet to the interview we did. I don't think I've ever had such controversy around an interview, ever. It's a bit like the Jordan and Peter thing, isn't it? It's Team Peter or Team Jordan. Your fans have gone one way or the other, haven't they?
Well, it does seem that, that there's a bit of a split on the old fan base, but that certainly wasn't anything to do with me, that's come from the dark side, as I call them.
And in terms of legalities now, we spoke about that last time. Has things resolved in terms of who owns what and what part you own of the UB40 brand now?
No, everything's still up in the air, I had a court date, but it was just as I was, going to have my day. They put the company into liquidation, into administration rather. So I couldn't get me. I didn't have my day in court, and I don't think I'll see it coming up, in the future. I'm just glad that I'm out from under, basically, from all that stuff, and I'm happy doing what I'm doing.
When you go on the road now, for those who haven't seen you, do you still cover the songs that you're so loved for?
Don't do UB40 penned songs, but I do the covers that we were famous for, the songs that made me famous, the Red Red Wine and Homely Girl and Can't Help Falling in Love, Kingston Town. I do all them. And you get the best of the old and the best of the new with me and my new band.
You know when that Red Red Wine starts, does it get a bit boring? Because, of course, you've been singing it for years.
Well, it's something that never, ever goes down badly, It's, it always gets a tumultuous applause. So, of course, no, I love doing it, It's all about, I don't play for me, I play for the audience, who've paid to come and see me, and I know that they're going to want to hear that song, and when I play it, it always goes down wicked, so, there's nothing wrong with doing your golden oldies,
See, that's brilliant, because there's nothing worse than turning up to an act, is there, and then they just want to play all stuff you've never heard of, and some of it might be rubbish, and you actually want to get your money back, because you think, hang on, you're the man who sang Red Red Wine, sing Red Red Wine.
Exactly, yeah. Well, the beauty of this new album as well, the Great British Songs, is that you could drop me anywhere in the world, and I could do the whole album top to bottom, and everyone would know every track, already. That's the beauty of this song.
All right.
This album.
We'll talk about the album next. Let's play a song from it. What's one of your favourites?
Oh, Hard Day's Night.
We're back with Ali Campbell on your favourite local radio station. It's Alex Belfield talking to the man behind A Hard Day's Night. You got to be a bit nervous, haven't you, when you take on a Beatles song, because let's face it, it's been done well, and you don't want to be the guy that does a horrible cover.
No, I'd only, I always stay true to the melody, and the tempo usually. That was just a joy to do that particular song. I love the way it's come out. I got Lenky on keyboards there, giving it a bit of a techno feel. And, Beatles are just the greatest songs ever penned, I think, especially from that era, from the early era.
And of course, it's a rock and roll song. Do you ever get nervous that you might not be able to sing it?
Reggae-fy it, you mean?
Yeah, or it's not possible to make it yours.
Well, no. There were 2 songs on my list that didn't make the album eventually. That was Come Up and See Me, Make Me Smile, Cockney Rebel. That didn't reggae-fy very well. And Something in the Air. Tried to do that, but it was more about the arrangement and the production than it was about the actual melody, So, and to reggae-fy something, you need a melody.
I mean, when I listened to your last album, as I say, I played earlier, She's a Lady. It just works so beautifully. Is it hit and miss sometimes? Are there songs that you wish you could do? Or 9 times out of 10, can you make them your own?
Yeah, I think, like I said, but when I did, with the Fun Loving Criminals, I did the Prince Purple Rain song earlier on in this year, and that was such an unlikely cover, that I thought, well, what else can I cover? What else can I reggae-fy? And it seems more or less anything.
When you're performing live, you're obviously at your best, because that's really the great skill to someone like yourself. You're not one of these album artists that really isn't very good live. I mean, you come alive on stage. How do you feel those moments before you get on and you stood in the wings?
Oh, I'm still very, very nervous. I'm not in the wings, I'm in the toilet, actually. That's what happens a couple of minutes before I go
What exactly are you doing in the toilet?
Nothing. It's just it's pure wind, But, nothing comes out or anything like that. And I still get very nervous. And I think if I didn't get nervous, I probably, I wouldn't be putting on as good a show.
And the unique thing about you as well is if the PA system went down, the show would still go on, because actually you and a guitar is as interesting as you with a big PA system and a 20-piece band.
Well, we did an acoustic song on the last set, actually, which went down beautifully. So might be doing a few more of them. When
you travel abroad and you hear your songs on the radio now, does it ever become normal?
Normal? Yeah, well, I just think I should get more airplay. But I think reggae should get more airplay as well. I mean, when I started UB40, it was to promote reggae and to promote dub, and to get it onto the radio. And with UB40, I think we were the most successful pop act of the 80s. And we had more top 20 hits than any other band. And just for that period, we had reggae on the radio, but. It's as hard now to get reggae on the radio as when we started, and that's always a bugbear of mine, and that's what motivates me and keeps me going.
And are you happy where you are now in show business, able to bring out an album each year and go on the road and people buy tickets? Is there anything left to achieve?
Tons more, yeah. I'd like to do a dub version of this album for a start. I'm still on the same mission, as I started, and that's to promote reggae and to promote dub. I'd like to take it to Las Vegas and do a reggae review.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
I'd pay good money to see that.
Yeah, man. And lots of other people would as well.
And in terms of your duets, I mean, you're renowned for those now because the last album featured so many great artists. Who's left? Who's on the list that you want to ask next?
Oh, there's 100 people I could use, and if I was given the chance, At the moment, I'm listening to Movado and Vibes Cartel, Busy Signal, Leiden, Egyptian, artists like that, I'd love to work with any of them.
When you switch on the radio in this country, particularly commercial radio, and hear one dance track after another and one song that sounds the same as another, does your heart sink a bit?
Well, no, because if you listen to dance music, especially UK stuff, it's all dub. It's all very influenced by dub, and that's what I'm about, I remember when UB40 we got the first dub album into the charts back in the early 80s, and people brought it back in droves, saying it was faulty and there was no vocals on it and strange echoes, and people actually thought it was a faulty record. So things have come a long way since then, and you've got grime music and all your R&B stuff. It's all dub, and so reggae has been very influential, on contemporary music, and I love that.
Ben Elton in We Will Rock You calls pop music computer-recorded anodyne pop. I don't know what that stands for, but that's how he feels about it. Your album is certainly not that. It's always unique, and it's great to get you on. Your new album is called Great British Songs, and it just features every great track that you want to hear Ali Campbell sing, really. What shall we end with, then, from the new album?
Paint It Black's a good one, by the Stones.
Ali Campbell, always nice to talk to you. Thanks for coming on again.
Right, cheers, Alex.